Morning, Noah.
Good morning, James. How are you?
I'm glad I didn't have anything to eat watching one of those episodes. A little bit too real for me, man. That's all I got to say.
You don't go in for that sort of thing?
No, no. And I wanted to be a doctor when I was much younger, but no.
I find I've got a pretty high tolerance for that sort of thing. It's the smells that get me.
Oh man, God. Speaking of smells, we're not talking about smells. We're talking about Noah Wyle in a brand new series. Where he's not only the star, but the executive producer for something called The Pit. And from what I saw, it's an emergency room. And I guess your experience being on ER as Dr. John Carter helped you with this. So let's talk about The Pit.
Okay. As you said, it's a fresh new look at an old genre. It's a medical series like you've never seen before. The fact that we're on Max allows us to take our storytelling a little farther than we were ever able to before. I'm guessing that's why you watched it like this, James. Uh, but we were going for the most realistic show that we could possibly make. We really wanted to raise the bar on allowing people a vantage point, not just on the procedures and the wounds that these people treat, but on how it affects them as physicians every day, all day, the aggregate of having to attend everybody's worst day, all day, and what kind of a toll that takes on the people that are on the front lines. This was an attempt to sort of put them back in the spotlight.
You definitely did. I have to admit that I'm probably like the young actress who fainted when you did the emergency room.
That's a very human response.
Oh man. So, how did you get to be executive producer on this? This is very interesting. It's a step up.
It's a step up. It just meant that I happened to have been on the ground floor of the planning stages for this one. During the pandemic in 2020, it seemed like this would be an interesting arena to revisit because it was very clear that there were two healthcare systems operating in this country, whether you had money or you didn't have money, and the people that were getting hurt were the most vulnerable populations, and they were being treated by real heroes that were putting themselves in harm's way, putting their families in harm's way to do really noble work. So it was born there. And I called John Wells, who I'd worked with on ER, and Scott Gemmell, and we kind of put our heads together and thought, all right, what's the right delivery system for this new message? And, we started down one road and then ended up here. And I'm really proud of it.
Speaking of being proud of and being a part of the role, did you get a chance to actually go into a couple of emergency rooms and actually see and talk to a couple of doctors? Talk about that.
Yeah, I had the great fortune of being, as I said, on the ground floor, which meant I was on the writing staff this season. And as we were doing our research for the show, we were lucky enough to have Dr. Joe Sachs, who was our technical advisor on ER, with us again on the writing staff. And he facilitated interviews with just about every professional that you can imagine working in every aspect of healthcare in America, and allowed us opportunities to go down to USC County Hospital in Los Angeles, which is, right on the edge of Skid Row. It's the population that nobody else will treat, and these doctors and nurses allowed us to watch them and observe them, hang out and hear their war stories, and trying to do them justice here.
So be honest with me, Noah. So when you got a chance to go to the hospital, did you pass out or were you good?
Like I said, I'm good until the smell hits me, I almost like I want to put a little Vicks vapor rub or something underneath my nose just to sort of, because I could take the sights and I can take the sounds, but some of the smells, man.
It's a smell. What do you want the audience to take away from this being a lot more real than we've seen in the past?
I think audiences have gotten a lot more sophisticated, so you kind of have to shock them a little harder than you used to get their attention, and you kind of have to kick them a little harder in the heart in order to get them to feel something. So this is our attempt to do both of those things. We're trying to shock them, we're trying to make them feel, and really show how really, there's no difference between us. We all end up in these environments, and we're all vulnerable when we do. And we are all, this is the commonality that we've all been we all talk about our differences all day long. There are differences, but you want to talk about how we're the same, go to an emergency room. And you recognize how underneath the smallest millimeter of skin, we are exactly the same. And it's the great unifier. So this was my personal attempt to try and remind everybody of our commonality and our need for each other, our interdependence on each other, and how we only get through this together.
I've been speaking to star and executive producer Noah Wyle about a brand new series called The Pitt. It definitely is The Pitt. I'm like the girl in the emergency room that passed out. I'm sitting there watching this and going, ooh.
I'll be right there to pick you up, James.
I appreciate it. Noah, thank you for spending time with us and talking about your brand new series, The Pitt, here on Morning Blend. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Great talking to you too. Stay warm.
You know about St. Louis right now. It is cold,
Mm-hmm.
and we are still shut down. Yeah.
Good luck. Good
All right,
luck.
thank you.